is all about.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. On behalf of President Cagnoni and the CEO of Italian Exhibition Group, I would like to welcome you to those present physically and also to all those who are following us from the site of Vicenza Oro Voice or our Facebook channel. So this is Voice, Vicenza Oro community event, an event which was thought about some months ago together with the companies and together with the management involving stakeholders, associations, and IEG and ICE. Now, talking about ICE, we have President of ICE, Mr. Ferro, and then connected with us the director of the Beijing office and coordinator of all the Chinese offices, Mr. Bruno, and Mrs. Petro on behalf of ICE, of the e-commerce team of ICE, with headquarters in Milan, and Mr. Canzian of Digital Retex, which is a partner of ICE in a very important project. And the project is about e-commerce in China with WeChat, with a Chinese partner, WeChat. So thank you so much for being here. Let's start with President Ferro, who will give us an introduction on the activities of ICE. Thank you. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I don't know, because there are many people watching us from around the world. So there are three very good reasons for being here. First of all, because we speak about jewelry, that is 7 billion euros of exports. And then second, because we are speaking about e-commerce, and e-commerce is the future of export. And third, because we speak about e-commerce in China, and that means 600 million of users connected everywhere and every day. And that is 1.5 times what is to be found in the US. So it's a very important subject. And it is one of the 6 pillars of the pact for the export in order to accelerate recovery and also to grasp this opportunity to reposition companies towards new consumption models and new competitive factors. As you can see, e-commerce and GDO, online and offline, are the fourth of these pillars. Well, it's an extremely important area, not only because the pandemic has really accelerated transition to digital channels in our daily life, but also because this is an area where Italy was a bit lagging behind. Well, think that the world e-commerce represents 30% of world GDP. It has grown by 8% in 1 year, or every year. And in 2018, it was equal to 23% of all the exports. Now, if we look at Italy, as you can see from these statistics, B2C sales in 2018 were not going very well. And you see the average rate of penetration of e-commerce in terms of e-commerce and total retail, well, it was 5% as compared to a higher percentage for the rest of the world. So it is very important to work on this transition. So we have developed a new model which is based on partnerships and assistance to companies. We work with shop windows together with international partners, together with service providers selected together with our partners. So we take companies by hand and we try to accompany them in the various steps of e-commerce, from the development of the website to the other steps, which are logistics and order processing. Now, these issues have really been accelerated by the pandemic. At the beginning of 2019, we had 2 platforms, while today we have 13 platforms where we work. You see some of these platforms here. Some are dedicated to the Chinese market, Alibaba, Weidong, and WeChat. And with these 3 partners, we collect 80–90% of the flows of e-commerce to China. But we are also present in India, South Korea, Poland. With Amazon, we are present in France, Germany, the UK, Spain, and the US. And then Ocado, UK, and the objective is by year's end to have 24 of these agreements in 16 different countries, and one related also to B2B. Now, many of these agreements are of interest for our sector, for the jewelry sector. You see Amazon, Flipkart, Alibaba, Jingdong, WeChat, and Tmall in China. So I think that there are about 130 Italian jewelry companies which are already present on these platforms. So our objective is that of extending this opportunity to the largest possible number of companies. I would like to thank our partners of Retex and my colleagues of Milan and Beijing. They will illustrate the strategy. And hopefully these 130 companies will grow up to 400, because we have to think of a business model which goes beyond the COVID pandemic and which is open to new generations. New generations have no idea about online and offline. I learned to use the internet at home, and I know what is the difference between offline and online. But young people continuously use smartphones and do not know about this difference. So we really have the opportunity to communicate with a very large market where there are no borders. So this is the real opportunity that we have to grasp. And probably also in the next months, it will be the only channel open to us. Now, with that, I have concluded. I would like to thank my partners. I would like to thank Voice for giving us this opportunity to share our initiative with you. Thank you. Thank you, President Mr. Ferro. I know that you have to leave, but you certainly had the opportunity to meet many companies this morning. So now, let's have a look at these projects. Let's start from the big Chinese market. So let's go to China. We have Mr. Bruno, who is in charge of the ICE Beijing office, and he will tell us about this project with JD. Which is one of the most interesting platforms for the online market in China. Mr. Bruno, are you connected? Can you hear us? Hello? Good afternoon, good evening from Beijing. Can you hear me? Yes, very well. So what's the time in Beijing? It's 7:20 p.m. Well, I'm very happy to be here on this occasion. I would like to convey my greetings to the IEG and for extending the invitation to ICE in order to present these projects aimed at supporting our companies to expand their presence in the Chinese market in line with the process of digitalization and transformation, a process which has really been accelerated by the pandemic. We know that deals and transactions are increasingly carried out on e-commerce platforms. So, as already said, these are inescapable situations if you want to be present in China, given the intense penetration of these digital instruments in these markets. So we have decided to multiply our efforts in order to implement some innovative projects so that an increasing number of companies, Italian companies, could have their windows and could have the opportunity to sell their products online, also without having a direct physical presence in China. I would like to mention in particular the projects that were already mentioned by the President. So in China, we have two types of projects, B2C, and in particular an agreement with Alibaba with the creation of a platform called Eloit, and then an agreement with Tencent for the setting up of an Italian hall, and this project will be described by our partner and service provider, and then an agreement with Jingdong for the creation of an Italian pavilion on the second platform, JD.com. And then we are negotiating an agreement with Alibaba for an Italian pavilion on a B2B platform in order to extend and increase opportunities also for the B2B sector. Now, I want to focus on the pavilion that we are working on. I will not dwell too much on some aspects. Of course, China is the biggest e-commerce market in the world, with 850 million of users and a gross market value of $862 billion in 2019. Well, there is still some potential for further growth and acceleration. China in 2019 had the highest revenues in the world, as you can see here. And the yearly average rate of growth expected until 2024 is 11.8% for a total turnover, which will be 1.5 trillion in 2024, with the number of users which is expected to grow by 18%, so from 850 million to 1 billion in 2023. Jingdong is the second e-tailer in China with a market share of 24% after Tmall, which has a market share of 61%, and it is also the most important retailer, because one of the characteristics of Jingdong is that it doesn't use third-party service providers to distribute its products, but it uses its own network, unlike the other big players, which resort to partners for logistics and distribution. Now, why Jingdong? Well, first of all, because it has 370 active customers, and it is very much focused on authentic, original, and high-quality products. And that's in line with the model of our exports to China. The platform offers a large range of products in all the main categories, including consumer goods, electronics, and JD has its own national logistic network, which can serve almost all the population in China and deliver 90% of the orders the same day or the next day. This is the ecosystem of Jingdong. It is varied with different contact points with consumers, including retail shops, social media, marketing, financial services. So it's extremely diversified. But the main strength is the logistics. You see the network, which is really spread out to the whole continent, with a series of main hubs from which JD delivers its orders very rapidly. And then Let's have a look at the project. The idea is to set up a pavilion of Italian companies representing made in Italy products in the e-commerce Jingdong pavilion. It will be called Italy National Pavilion. So it's a container of virtual digital stores open to companies which want to sell their products. Now, what are the benefits of this project? First, transaction cost reductions, because companies can directly sell their products to China, without any possible tariff barriers or duties which have to be dealt with when you carry out a transaction on the Chinese market. So reduction of barriers, the possibility of optimizing the value chain, so logistics, digital marketing campaigns, brand awareness campaigns, and consolidation of the brand equity. And then an improvement in the access to the market, relationships with customers, and also access to technology, support systems, etc.
Usually when a flagship national store is created, there is a third-party service provider. For JD, that is the Shanghai Wise Partners e-commerce company providing multi-channel e-business services. They have a very long experience of e-commerce activities. They collaborate with more than 50 international brands. In the project, there are two sales channels. One is called General Trade, that is there to support companies who are already having their products in China. They have already passed the customs, they have the distributors, so the value chain is in a way easier. A second channel, which is of interest for small and medium-sized companies who are not yet on the Chinese market, is the cross-border trade. That means that Italian companies can position their products on the Chinese market without being physically present in China, i.e. without an importer or a distributor. So there is no need to create a party or open a current account and so on. That is done by delivering the products to a logistic hub of JD in Germany. Then the third-party service provider delivers the product to the final consumer, and they deal with cashing payments and paying the companies who do the cross-border services. What are the services offered to Italian companies by the third service providers? Well, first of all, a brand page is created, which is a virtual showcase on the Italy National Pavilion that is available in the form of general trade or in the cross-border scheme up to a maximum of 40 SKUs. The third-party service provider is also managing with brand marketing, cultural activities, so that the product is consistent also in terms of price strategies to the mindset of China, to seasons or aesthetic principles. Then digital advertising is invested in to promote the Italy National Pavilion. That is an innovation in our products. This is the first time that Italian institutions invest in digital marketing. So we have created this pavilion so that companies can be in the Chinese market, but we also invest in the marketing must, because it's meaningless to have a store if nobody is visiting it. There we have resources to generate digital traffic in order to do the SEO, search engine optimization, to increase the visibility of Italian companies in the pavilion. Then we have customer care to support sales before, during, and after the purchase, financial management, management of returns, and all the logistical activities necessary to place a product from Italy or from China in the general trade mode to the final consumer. We also manage invoicing, returns, and we pay the prices to the Italian company. There are many different categories. Usually they are consumer goods. We have a B2C mode, and jewels are one of the most important segments we want to advertise in the project. What are the conditions to participate? Our objective is that to dramatically reduce the cost of entering the market. That is the price that companies have to pay in order to be present on the platform. They would be much higher if companies go alone. So there is an entrance fee. It's about 6,000 euro at the present currency exchange rate. The company will have to sign a contract with the third-party service provider on a yearly basis. At present is slightly above 10,000 euro. Exchange rate has improved. Now it's 8.1. The calculations were made a couple of months ago. Now the exchange rate is more favorable. That is given to the service provider to create the position in the pavilion for digital marketing, advice, search engine optimization and management, logistics, management of returns and payments. On top of that, there is a commission on sales, which varies depending on the product, ranging from 12 to 15%, depending on the product category. What about ICE? We pay the entrance fee per each company, 6,000 euro per company. For the initial stage, we envisage to have 200 companies on board. We also fund a digital marketing campaign to increase the visibility of companies and to generate digital traffic on the pavilion. And indeed, there is a tailored support for all the needs that companies might have to understand the complex market of China and the tariff or non-tariff barriers. We also support companies in implementing their digital store on the pavilion. What are the prerequisites? These are the basic conditions. E-commerce platforms are rather sophisticated tools. They are for the many, but not for all. So a company needs to be structured in the organization and have the right cultural approach and the financial basis. So the company should be already active in the export markets. They should have an active e-commerce website. Products should be part of the categories, and there is a list of admissible products. They need to have dedicated staff in order to manage the channel, because that is an intense activity in terms of human resources, and they should have a registered brand. And this is one of the prerequisites to be trading with China. I mean, if you are already present in China, you know that very well. And this is one of the main barriers to enter the Chinese market. You also have to guarantee logistics to the warehouse in Europe indicated by GED for the deliveries. That's all. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Marco and Italian Exhibition Group, for this great opportunity. Thank you. Congratulations. I hope you hear that people are joining hands. People were taking pictures of the slides. I'm very glad of that. Anyway, you can have all the pictures on our website. Then ICE is present the whole day at the booth 235 with Dr. Petro, if you have questions. Thank you very much, Gianpaolo. Let's go on locally with the managing partner of Retex, Mr. Canzian, who will expand on another very important project to face the market for small and medium-sized companies who are not yet ready for that market. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm here to talk about a project which we have devised with ICE in these weeks. Well, the project has similarities with what the colleague from China told us. There is a major difference. The project is implemented on one of the most important communication platform in China, i.e. WeChat. That's a wonderful, an extraordinary platform. Some people who were here 1 hour ago described it as the Chinese equivalent of WhatsApp. But indeed, WeChat is an ecosystem. It's not like WhatsApp. More than 1 billion people, 1.2 billion people in China are in touch with their friends, with their beloved. They get information, they decide, they make purchases. For that reason, WeChat is unique in the world. What about the project we designed with ICE? The project got started from ideas and the interest that Chinese consumers have to made in Italy. I don't know whether the remote control works. The Made in Italy is a brand which has a lot of appeal in China, much more than the natural competitor in the field of luxury and fashion, that is France. This is particularly so for the world of jewels. There are great opportunities in China. The market of jewels in China is about 6 billion euro. notwithstanding this is a difficult moment, China is a great opportunity. Before many other countries, China was able to start again and manage the COVID crisis. The indicators of recovery show that they are recovering much faster than in the West. In July, for example, even though there was a worsening of retail sales on the previous year, the jewelry world in July, on the previous July, marked a 7.6% growth. And the first quarter for sales online on Chinese platforms, and let me tell you that e-commerce in China goes through platforms. And ICE is trying to bring Italian companies on that platforms, had a growth of 71% on the previous year quarter. So we can say that undoubtedly China is a great opportunity for the world of jewelry and the made in Italy. China proposes special interpretations of e-sales. They are incredible. There is a famous case we often quote that is what we would call television sales, i.e. live streaming. They have platforms with usually influencers or top managers of a company presenting their products. There is a famous jewelry brand who could generate sales for 400 million renminbi in a single presentation online. That means that this is very sophisticated, but that is very much liked by the Chinese consumers. The reopening of the brick-and-mortar retail shops has not changed this attitude to buy online. Was the Chinese consumer, being the most predisposed to buy online, as President Ferro said a few moments ago, this attitude has further spread after the pandemic. For that reason, China, from a trading point of view, is a #1 destination for made-in-Italy products and jewelry from Italy in particular. So in order to build opportunities for Italian companies and grasp this opportunity, ICE has developed a project to which we contributed. It is something combining the two ends of the value chain. So we have this project. If you are a company, you want to participate in the project, you will be put in contact to the Chinese consumer. How will that work? The Italian company will deliver their products to a logistic hub in Italy. And this is the only commitment that we ask to the companies. With the support of ICE, we will build two digital assets, which I will briefly describe, in order to attract the attention of Chinese consumers by leveraging on the ability of the WeChat channel, where we have about 150 projects active already, and WeChat is able to targetize very precisely Chinese consumers, so that we can indeed decide the destiny of our message and the communication we are using to support the different companies and the Made in Italy industry. The advertising campaigns will draw the attention of Chinese consumers to an official account of ICE, which is like a showcase. It's a digital place where communication is implemented in order to simplify things. Instead of comparing WhatsApp to WeChat, well, I would prefer to equal WeChat and the internet. On the internet, we have websites. On WeChat, we have official accounts where the Made in Italy will be narrated. In order to accomplish the service to Chinese consumers, we are completing another mini program, a digital asset. Just think of an app that will be a marketplace within the market, where we will have the pages telling the story of the industry and exhibiting the products of that company.
So when the Chinese consumer presents an order, we will have first payments, which will be carried out by means of WeChat Pay, which is a very important digital finance platform. So together with the eBay finance platform, they cover 92% of all the digital payments in China. And they have become the normal, natural, standard form of payment, both online and offline. So the payment will be managed by a payment service provider, and the process is very transparent for the company, and the company will receive the sum in euro, and then the order will be brought back to the logistic hub in Italy, and we will think about the delivery of the product from Italy to China. Normally in China, a delivery takes place in a very few hours, but the Chinese consumer knows that when they buy products directly from Italy, they will have to wait a few days more. Of course, we'll have to use airplanes transfer. Now, this is the description of the project in terms of flows. It's important to underline the value for the company that this project can create. Now, as far as the company is concerned, it is an unrepeatable opportunity to access to have access to Chinese consumers in China with a very limited initial investment. Now, if a company would like to go the same way on their own, they will have to invest 10 times the money that they invest here. And then there is another important factor. In China, there is a very important issue, that is the authenticity of the project. Now, this project, under the aegis of ICE and with the guarantee that consumers buy products directly from the Italian producers, thus stultifying the risk of fake products. And this is a big value for Chinese consumers. Now, there will be two components which are important. One is the official account. It's like a site, and a mini program that is an app which will include the shop windows of the various companies. So far, there is space for 300 companies. The categories are basically the ones that we mentioned earlier. That is food and wine, fashion, design, cosmetics, glasses, and of course, jewelry. So how do you apply for the project? You go to the site, you fill in the application form, and then ICE will assess and analyze the various indices. And it's important, as the president said, to have already some export, at least €1 of export. And then it is important to already have experience of online sales. Now, after ICE approves the application, the company will get in touch with us, and then we make another preliminary evaluation. That is the fact that products have to belong to the positive list of Chinese customs. So they are admitted to sale in China in a modality which is called cross-border. And the company can apply by paying 9,000 euros, and then there is the onboarding phase, meaning that the company will have to deliver the products to the Italian warehouse, and we deal with the whole process of communication, logistics, order processing, management of the platform, and then we put the money on the company's account. And then, obviously, we also manage the customer service with the Chinese customer in case of problems. Thank you. Many thanks, Mr. Canzian of Digital Retex, digital partner for this important project. So you see that there are many projects. The entry costs are very reasonable because this is the most interesting market in the world. So one should not think about money when they go to China, because really this project is really very interesting. It's just 1,000 euros, and it's not a big effort. Now, you mentioned 4 million renminbi. You have to divide by 8 point something, so it's about 50 million euros. So we're speaking about a no-brainer market. Well, the market has certainly understood that, because the companies which are adapting their strategies and which are diverting all the investments on China, well, the number of these companies is really impressive. So China is really on top again. Now, I would like to recall you that the event can be seen as a replay document. Also, the documents and the presentations will be available on our site and also in the ICE site. And Mrs. Petro is available also in the afternoon, but also by means of the link that you will find in the website. So a couple of very fast questions. After starting this JD project or the WeChat project, what happens? Is there a team which works on it? Well, we of the e-commerce team help companies which want to bank on that sector, because for us e-commerce is a sector like all the others. So we are available right from the start just to have information or about the application form, and then after the company has decided to go for it, we are available, and also our partner is available. So there will be a team of people available to the company. So let's say that they will have the opportunity to bank on us. And then, of course, also our offices in China will be available. The ICE office in China helps companies also in this stage. Another question. I seem to understand that there are 150 active projects on WeChat. Yes, we are partners of Tencent, which is the big Chinese internet giant, and among other things, it's the owner of WeChat. It's a big, huge company. And over the years, we have developed 150 projects in China, not only WeChat, because, you know, China is a big opportunity, but it's also a complex world, and it has to be faced with the appropriate strategy. So if the company wants, we can start and then develop the business plan. We can take care of communication, because China is big, of course. And then we can open the sale channels. WeChat has specific characteristics, but then there is JD, Tmall of Alibaba, and these are the three dominant platforms. And then there are some followers like TikTok, or Doing, as the Chinese say, and then Onshu, which certainly I mispronounced, and it's called the Internet Book in English. And they are offering innovative opportunities, and they are growing with millions and millions of new users. Now, a very final question from Mrs. Petro. Let's mention another couple of projects in other countries, because I see has a large number of projects. Yes, as our president said, we are very much focused on e-commerce in order to help companies overcome this difficult situation. And then we have understood that really Italian companies need help in the e-commerce sector. Now, we have other agreements, for example, with a very important Indian company, Flipkart, and then another Korean partner, which is called G-Market. And it's more or less the same project as Jingdong and WeChat. And then, for 1 year now, we've had the famous Italian shop window on Amazon. And then we have a B2B agreement with Alibaba. But these are just some of the projects. we have other projects that we're going to sign and implement in the next few months. Thank you. Thank you again. So ICE is very active in growing markets. It's very close to companies and to fairs and exhibitions. I would like to thank you on behalf of IEG. I would like to thank your partners and all the participants. So, thank you again, and we will be back soon on the same platform. Thank you.